All right. Welcome to Rich Conversations. This is going to be a really cool episode. I'm really looking forward to this. We have Elaine Posadas joining us from Sao Paulo,
Hello.
Brazil. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, why don't you briefly introduce yourself for listeners and viewers?
Okay, so I am Elaine or Eliane, depends on the language. I am a 23-year-old animator slash designer, illustrator, video editor. I don't know, I'll do a lot of like digital art in general. I recently graduated from uni. Um, I am Peruvian actually, but I've lived here in Brazil for like over 13 years. So I basically grew up here. And yeah, basically.
Yeah, we were talking about this right before we went on, how you're the fourth Peruvian that we've had on the show. But we haven't talked to anybody in Brazil yet. So this will be cool to get your perspective on things.
Yeah, like I can get both the Brazilian perspective because I did grow up here since I was like 9 years old, but also the immigrant perspective. Like
Mm.
I was about to say before we started recording that the Andean community in São Paulo is one of the biggest immigrant communities here, especially the Bolivian ones. And you know, like Bolivians, Peruvians, we consider each other like cousins basically, because our cultures are very, very similar. Once, like a long time ago, we were only one country.
Wow. Huh.
So yeah, and it's a pretty very, very interesting and cool community. Like there are actually I forgot the name, like places here in the city which is like exclusively Bolivians and Peruvians. Like there's like a whole market only exclusively for Bolivians and Peruvian food and Peruvian food products. And even there's a place where they would showcase dances and music presentations.
So
And
it's
it's
pretty
really cool. And
multicultural there.
yeah, it's pretty multicultural. And like you wouldn't think of it like, oh, Sao Paulo, it's Brazil, it's like only, you know, samba, football, but no, it's very multicultural over here.
Wow. What would you say the general vibe of Sao Paulo is?
It's very diverse. It's like a big city, like Los Angeles, like New York. It's a big city, like yeah, filled with buildings and cars and noise and you know pollution, but it's very, very diverse. Like you would find everything here that you can imagine. It's a place where everyone has a place, basically.
Wow, that's a great way to say it. I saw, just looking at
Yeah.
quick facts about the city before this, it's the fourth most populous city in the world for like the city limits in particular, not necessarily metro. So it's like 12
Mhm.
million people in the city, and then the metro is like 22 million, it looks like.
Yeah, no, pretty big. I think it's the biggest in South America or even Latin America. Yeah, it's pretty big.
Wow. So what's can you share with me what makes it unique compared to Rio de Janeiro and like the differences between the cities?
I think first of all the diversity. Rio is also like very diverse, but it's, I don't know, it's a different kind of way you would say. Because here, like I said, we have like a neighborhood. I remember the word. We have exclusive neighborhood for the Andean community. We have a neighborhood only for the East Asian community as well. Like we have, you would say the Chinatown, but it's more like the Japanese town, but it's not only Japanese, it's also have like a lot of Chinese and Korean influences as well.
Mm.
It's like, it's called Liberdade, that it's filled with East Asian restaurants and shops and everything. You will find everything there. And there's, each corner has its own culture, you would say, as well. It's very diverse. You would find like a thing for everything. You will find everything here. And you could say that like Rio de Janeiro is more of a beach city. You know, people go
Okay.
there to to tan, to go to the beach. Over here is more like a go out city, go to like different places, to know different things, to like, I guess like travel worldwide without actually traveling, because you would find everything here.
Huh. I'm really curious about this now. Like, it seems there's definitely something for everybody.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Would you say that, like, is it the more like artsy and like intellectual city of Brazil compared to Rio, or no?
Yeah, no,
Is Rio the more
definitely.
like
Yeah.
going out, or the like entertainment party city?
Yes, it's more like the entertainment party, definitely, and the more like beachy vibes. Whereas here would be like the city where all the hipsters want to live. But like legit though, when I
Yeah.
grew up in a small city here, like in the countryside of São Paulo, and basically all the hipster kids from my city, included myself when I was like a teenager, we all wanted to come here. We ended up coming here, most of us.
Really?
Yeah, because here, you might know Chicago, you know Lollapalooza,
Yeah.
the festival.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
like
headlines
Lollapalooza.
or the lineup just came out today.
Yeah, I saw. So yeah, we have Lollapalooza like this weekend here in São Paulo.
Really?
Yeah, like São Paulo is the city for festivals, for music festivals. Even we have like Rock in Rio and Rio de Janeiro. Most of them happen here in São Paulo. We're gonna get Primavera Sound, the one from Barcelona, here in São Paulo as well.
Elaborate on that a little bit. I saw a photo of you at Lollapalooza. That was the Chicago one?
No, it was the São Paulo one here.
So they're like, what makes I'm like, this is like blowing my mind right now, sort of. So Lollapalooza is known to be in Chicago, but they also have a
in other
Lollapalooza.
countries.
Like, it's the same
Brazil,
font, it's the
Argentina.
same
It's the same festival.
is it the same
It's the same
organizers, or
festival.
but what makes a
Basically.
festival
Yeah.
unique compared to another festival?
I guess the type of music, the type of artists they bring, the type of vibe they have. Because like there's a Lollapalooza, Brazil, Argentina, Chile. There's also in Paris, I think. In
So it's like
France.
the curation of the
Yeah,
music.
the creation of it. And like here in South America, the Lollapalooza, the artists we get, the headliners are like basically the same for Brazil, Argentina, and Chile. The only differences are more of the local artists.
Okay.
Because like for Argentina and Chile, you would get the more like Latin artists, the speaking, singing artists, and here we only get the Brazilian ones.
Okay. So the headliners, what type of, like, who does Lollapalooza try to get to headline those? Yeah.
Me and my friends, we're like big fans of Lollapalooza and festivals in general. So like we see a trend that it ends up being similar from Chicago's. Like last year you had Miley Cyrus. This year we're having Miley Cyrus.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
This year, I'll read you the lineup of so it's Metallica, Green Day, Dua Lipa, and who's the other one? J. Cole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Doja Cat too. Machine Gun Kelly, Lil Baby, and Kygo.
Doja Cat and Machine Gun Kelly are gonna play this weekend here.
Really?
Yeah.
At Lala.
Yeah, at Lala.
So the Lala in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, Brazil, are gonna have similar guests as Chicago this summer.
Yeah, and it's also having similar from last year's Lola, and they're in Chicago.
So it's like a brand, and they try to stay on brand with the type of music that they curate. Interesting.
Mm-hmm, yeah, like in 2019, the 1975 went. Actually, that was the main reason I went to Lollapalooza that year, because of the 1975, and also Arctic Monkeys. They bring like very similar artists.
Yeah. I've been listening to 1975 quite a bit recently. A coworker of mine, she created a playlist. We work at a restaurant, and so we
Mhm.
like curate playlists, and she listens to a lot of like Miley and uh Arctic Monkeys is kind of on there too. 1975, like Billie Eilish, all those
Oh,
types
cool.
of people. Uh we can talk a little bit more about music a little bit later.
Hmm.
What would you say? Okay, if someone had a few days in Sao Paulo, what would you recommend them
Hmm.
doing?
First of all, that it's a must go to Avenida Paulista or Paulista Avenue. It's like the main tourist point here. Everyone goes there. It's really amazing to first of all take pictures. People call it like the Wall Street of São Paulo, but I would say it's more than that because especially every Sunday there's like the like they close all the road of the street of the avenue,
Okay.
so people can like walk through it, and there's like a lot of musical presentations happening or like theater presentations just in the middle of the street, and it's amazing. It's really cool. And like there are a lot of street vendors, like people that sell their art,
Okay.
even like they sell their paintings, the things they made by hand, jewelry, and it's really cool. There are two museums there:
Okay.
the MASP, the Museum of Modern Art of São Paulo, if I'm not mistaken, that's the name, and there's a Fiesp, which is another place where there are like constant exhibitions happening. Like they change it every time. Like the last one that I went was an exhibition of Art Nouveau.
Oh, that is
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Art Nouveau.
Art Nouveau. And another place they will have to go is Liberdade. That's like the Japanese neighborhood,
Okay.
especially to eat like good and genuine ramen, or just Chinese or Japanese or Korean food. And you know, K-pop kids go there to do their dances, to practice, or
Okay.
even like cosplayers. There still are like the emo teenagers who nowadays are like also more tending towards being e-girl and e-boys. They go there to just hang out and be, and it's amazing to see. Like it's so cute. Some people make fun of them, but like,
But
they're
they enjoy it, and
teenagers.
it's cool.
They
Yeah.
enjoy it. They're like being themselves. So
Yeah.
like it's really cute to see, and it's really interesting, especially the cosplayers. You
Okay.
can take pictures with them. They just go around dressed as anime characters, and like you can take pictures with them if you want.
Hmm.
Um, let's see what other place. There's the park Ibirapuera,
Okay.
which is like this ginormous park where you can like ride bikes, just to walk around. There's also another museum there, which there are like constant exhibitions. The last one that I know of before the pandemic that I didn't get to go, sadly, was one of Van Gogh's paintings.
Oh, wow. Do you know which one?
Mm,
Was it a self
what?
portrait, or
Excuse me?
was it a
No, no,
self
no. It
portrait
was
or
no. It was like of a lot of his paintings.
oh, an exhibit?
Yeah, an exhibition.
Oh, very cool. I'm a big fan of
And
Van Gogh. Van Gogh's got
me too. I
great
really like
story,
him.
great art. I'm
Yeah,
looking at
no,
photos of
very
this
sad
park. This
story.
park is impressive.
Yeah, no, it's really beautiful. Let's see. There's a city very near here where you can go by bus called Embu das Artes.
Okay.
I would also recommend to go there.
This is a
It's
photo of the park. I'm looking at
yeah,
the fountains and
yeah,
what
it's
building is
really
that behind it?
beautiful.
It looks like a arena or something.
I have no idea, to be honest.
The architecture is really interesting too. The
Hmm.
city, it looks like.
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
we call São Paulo the forest of buildings,
Okay.
because like if you see from up and from an airplane, you see like a lot of buildings. So kind of to like make a juxtaposition of like, Brazil, the Amazon forest being like
Yeah.
all green and filled with trees. We have São Paulo, which is filled with buildings. But like
Something.
that is,
Yeah, go ahead.
sorry, I was just gonna say, but that is like an actual fact of São Paulo. It's filled with buildings which in my view, when I started living here, I started like seeing a little bit of a problem with it, because in the time that I've lived here, I've seen so many houses being put down to put in place buildings. So like houses of people that like they've lived there for 20, 30 years, houses that have like big yards with trees and all, they will like get all put down to put more and more and more buildings. Like right now there's a building construction right next to the place where I live, like literally right next door. They're building yet another one.
How big is the building that is going up?
Geez, they are like 10, 20 floors.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like they're all big.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Huh. Something I'm really curious about is the languages that are spoken in Brazil. Well, in Sao Paulo, especially, like
Portuguese. And all Brazil is just Portuguese.
So if you know Spanish, is there a lot of Spanish being spoken in Sao Paulo? Or I'm sure there's like numerous languages being spoken, but
I mean, because of the immigrant population here, not only of people that speak Spanish, but also like from, like the Japanese immigration, Chinese immigration, European immigration, like, yeah, there are a lot of languages being spoken, but overall, it's only Portuguese. Like, it's even Brazilians would say, "Oh, we understand Spanish." I, on my own experience and on my friends and family experience, I know they don't understand.
really?
They really don't. Yeah, no, they like the Brazilian, you would say, like the ones that are like considered like, Brazil is kind of like the United States. In the case of, there has been a lot of European immigration. So like there's a lot of white folks here that would like call themselves, "Oh, I am 100% Brazilian," but like their great grandfathers were like from Italy or Portugal. But yeah, those Brazilians, they just don't understand Spanish at all. They would like listen to someone, like for example my friends, my parents, the parents of my friends that are Peruvians and Bolivians, speaking Portuguese, and they would not understand because of the accent, and we will get a little bit angry because like it is understandable, just that some people are not used to different accents, which is weird because São Paulo is very diverse. So there's like a little bit of a problem there, especially of the people that are like higher upper classes, they that sad thing that has been like, currently happening worldwide, of like not receiving very well immigrants, being very nationalist, being low-key or very high-key racist.
Okay. Brazil is the government structure, it's a little bit more authoritarian
right
yes or
now.
No?
Right now, yeah, because of our current president that I hate that dude so much. He's like a Trump, but Brazilian Trump. But we're having elections this year. We're having elections this year, which is good, because like literally even the people that were like on his side back on the 2018 elections, a lot of people have started being against him. That were like also right-wing. Well, they still continue being right-wing and all of that, but like he's getting a lot of backlash of how bad he's managing the country.
Yeah, if you screw up, managing the country, people get upset.
Yeah,
No matter
of
like
course.
what the case is.
Yeah. And
Huh.
he wasn't really liked when like there has been a lot of polarization
Yeah.
politically here, just as there was in the United States when Trump was in office.
Yeah.
Just like it's a very, very similar case.
Okay.
Well, there were a lot of you know, not acceptance of diversity and all of those issues.
Yeah, and you're living in a city that's extremely diverse and has many, many cultures.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many languages do you speak?
3.5.
What's the half?
French.
French. Why French? Why did you start learning French?
Well, okay, so like I have, because of my dad's job, he is a researcher in science.
Okay.
We have traveled a lot, and when I was a kid, I studied in Peru at first. It was a bilingual school, but I also taught French, so I started to learn French there at my old school, and then we moved to Kenya.
Wait, you lived in Kenya?
Yeah, for 2 years.
What? Wow.
Yeah. And so in Kenya, I was in an international school. I don't know if you've heard of the IB curriculum, International Baccalaureate
Not really,
Diploma.
no. What's that
It's
like?
it's in like an international curriculum. It's, man, I mean it's cool, I guess, but oh my god, if any young people are listening to this, and like if you can run away from the IB, do it. It's a lot of hard work. But
Elaborate on that. What makes it so challenging?
because the workload is crazy, and especially like you see it's kind of like AP classes,
Okay.
but even more hardcore.
Is that because you're being taught how to be like a global citizen rather
Yeah,
than
a
just
global
like,
citizen. Yeah, because you're taught to be a global citizen, and all of the subjects, even the standard level ones, they already have university subjects. So that when you go to uni, you can like cut down credits, and you can even skip a year. Instead of like having a 4-year undergrad, you can do just 3 years because you cut it with IB credits.
interesting. So you were
Yeah.
enrolled in that curriculum in Kenya?
Yeah, I was enrolled there, and we had to take a second language. And I was like, oh, I knew French when I was young, so let me just take it again and see where it goes.
How old were you when you lived in Kenya?
16, from 16 to
Really?
18.
What was that like living there? Were you in Nairobi?
Yeah, I was in Nairobi. Gosh, I love that city like a lot. At first it was a little bit different, but then again,
Of course.
big cities are all the same.
Mm.
Basically, big cities they have their uniqueness, of course. They all have their uniqueness, especially of the culture, the country, the people. But in the sense of buildings, cars, malls, it's
They're like the
same.
same objects and functionalities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like buildings, cars, malls, supermarkets,
Parks. Yeah.
parks, clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it was really cool. I really loved it. I was in international school, so I met a lot of people from different countries I've never heard of before. And some of them are my friends still to this day. So whenever I'm here, I say, oh, like my best friend is Indian Kenyan, people will be like, how? How do you know her?
So people like all over the world and stuff.
Yeah. I do.
What was the most memorable experience living in Nairobi?
Oh, I mean, good or bad?
Let's go both if you have one for both.
Okay, I have one that's kind of badish. It was scary. So like terrorist attacks are not that common. Just like people think because, oh, it's an underdeveloped country.
Okay, I think I know what you're.
Yeah, people would think that it's common, but no, it's not. It's scary. It's scary for the people. So just putting it out there before someone thinks, oh, like attacks are common, war is common. No, it's not. It's not for anyone, anywhere. So yeah, I was in at my school, and they were having like some political issues in the country, but not like that big of a, that like, you know, big and all. And then someone heard the sound of what they thought it was a gun. And the administration at my school, they thought like, oh my God, it's a gun. Oh my God, we're under attack. And because it's an international school, and everywhere in the world, they have like a protocol of what to do in a terrorist attack.
Okay.
So we went under all this protocol, and we had no idea if it was true or not. And we had not even had idea what was happening. So like the whole school was like under an alarm. We were like going under all this, the situation where we had to hide in our classroom, and then we had to go to this corridor, to this specific classrooms, hide under the desks. And we were like, oh my God, what's happening? And then we found out that the teachers and the head teacher thought that we were under attack, of a terrorist attack, but then it was just the sound of the tube of a car.
Oh wow.
Like it wasn't anything. Like the militaries went to school to see what was happening. It wasn't nothing. It was just a car. But
wow,
that was quite scary to think that it could memorable. Possibly be.
Yeah. Wow. What about a positive experience?
When we went to a school trip to a place called Naivasha, and we went sort of like hiking, and man, I got to see zebras and giraffes right next to me and take pictures of it. And I was like, I felt like I was in the Lion King.
Wow.
When I saw me and my friends, we were all like, man, we were at the Lion King. It was like amazing to see the savannah, like to be in the middle of the savannah. Yeah. I would have never imagined I would have had that opportunity.
Yeah, that's unique.
And yeah, that was like amazing to see. Yeah, to like realize that I was in another continent. Because like when I was in the city, Nairobi, yeah, like I could tell, but not as much as that place, where I was like, oh, I'm not seeing beaches, I'm not seeing like cacti or I don't know, forests. I'm seeing like savannas. I'm not seeing like llamas that I see in Peru, like llamas and condors. No, I am like seeing zebras in their natural habitat, and like giraffes, and not in a zoo, in their natural habitat. And I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. What kind of animals are in Sao Paulo?
Cars and people that drive.
What kind of like creatures are around in the city?
In the city, really not any local, you would say. It's more like dogs and cats. But the common animals here would be like the capybaras.
What kind of animals is that?
It's kind of like a big rodent. It's really cute.
See, we got rats. We got rats in Chicago that you see at night, and they're all crawling around.
Oh no, we have rats here too. We have rats here too. But like
squirrels,
capybaras, you would
bunnies,
see them
we have all those. They come out at, squirrels are in the day. Bunnies come out at night.
Oh, that's cute. Here you see cats. Like the capybaras, you would see them in the forest, you know, in like actual nature. But here at the streets and all, you would see like cats, dogs.
Are there lizards?
Birds. Yeah, lizards. Like geckos, actually. Tiny geckos. A lot of roaches.
That's unique to me. Like I was in Miami in May last year, and it was like we would see all these different animals, like these birds with these like these weird beaks, and we would see like stray cats, a lot of stray cats, and just like little lizards all over the place, which is just interesting.
Yeah, here we have like geckos. For me, it's like so common that I even forgot. But yeah, we have geckos. We have a lot of insects, pretty insects as well. We have these birds called papagayos.
Okay.
They are like greenish. They're really, really beautiful.
Isn't
It's like,
it? Go
no,
ahead.
sorry, you can, no, go ahead, go ahead.
Isn't it interesting how like a lot of animals are so common in your environment that you just take it for granted, but
Yeah.
and then you go somewhere else and it's like, oh wow, I've never seen this before, but it's like so common to them. Like for an example, we used to host people on Airbnb, and this gal stayed with us from Italy. She's from Sardinia, Italy. This was back in like 2014 or 15, and she had never seen snow before, and it snowed, and it was like blizzard conditions. It was like under 30 the entire time, and she had never
Oh,
seen squirrels, and she's taken videos in our backyard of like squirrels in the snow, and it was like she's like posting them to Facebook, and it was like this really cool thing. To us it was just like, oh, it's squirrels.
it's common.
But it's interesting how in different parts of the world it's you have different common creatures.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's true. Because like in Lima, Peru, it's where I was born. It's common-ish to see squirrels. I don't know how they ended up there. I have no idea how, because it's the only city in Peru you can find squirrels.
Really?
Yeah. But like here, it's not common at all. So whenever I used to see squirrels there, and when I went to visit my uncle in LA, and there was also a lot of squirrels, I would like get, oh my God, just like in the movies. For me, it's also not that common.
Yeah.
Or like, when I was in Peru, when I was studying there we had an alpaca in our school for some
Okay.
reason. I don't know
Nice.
why. Like it was also kind of odd situation to have an alpaca at school, but not like too odd. So whenever I tell people here, oh yeah, no, we had an alpaca, I have no
Yeah.
idea why. And people will be like, what? You had an alpaca at school? And I'm like, I don't know why as well, but for me it wasn't strange, but here people find it so fascinating.
Yeah, it is fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, switching gears a little bit,
Mhm.
what is the role and responsibility of an animation and designer?
I think it's communicating I would say like more like self-expression, not only of yourself, but of your community through
Okay.
art, and communicate it to people, and communicate it with responsibility, I would say, because art in any sort of form, it's a way to self-express and to communicate what you want to say to the world and to people. Animation is one way to put it, and especially like I would say a very popular way to put it out there. So I guess it's like wanting to communicate something important to you. Story is important to you that you want to showcase. Like one of the main reasons I wanted to get into this area that I went on to study animation and design was to communicate myself, communicate about my story, the things I've lived, because I've never seen people like me producing stories, storytelling, putting themselves out there. So I was like always seeing white people in the media, stories of white people. And that made me struggle a little bit when I was a kid and when I was a teenager, to be like insecure of the importance of my own existence and of the existence of my people, even to feel ashamed of my roots and my people. So I was like, growing up, actually, one of the people that inspired me, to encourage me to go pursue art and communication, was the author and director Marjan Satrapi. She's from Iran.
Okay.
She made the movie Persepolis. The first time I read her graphic novel Persepolis and saw who she was, where she was from, that she was a woman of color doing art, making movies, drawing, making design, I was like, oh, someone that's not white and someone that's like a woman of color is out there and she made it and she's telling her story. And I am actually learning a lot from her story. And even though we have like different ethnicities, different nationalities, different lives, I saw a lot of myself in her. And so I was like, I want to make that for young people, young women and young people in general. Like, I want to show them the diversity of life and what is out there. And not that you like, it's not only white people that can be out there and produce, and like the whole other people be like erased or like not important, that we are all important and we can all be out there.
So we're all humans out here, and the more we can contribute our own stories, the more beautiful life is. With just
exactly.
more and more stories out there.
Exactly. Like, I got so inspired by someone that's completely not from my nationality, like completely different. She's from Iran, she's Persian. I am Latina. I am like mixed. Would you say mestiza? You know, like a brown Latina, but not like brown Asian. And yet still I saw a lot of myself in her, of her experiences, of how she was as a teenager. And yeah, I think we can inspire people a lot through art, just to live, to exist, to empower ourselves, and to know more about the world out there.
Yeah, and it's like you're able to communicate a lot of emotions and ideas and stories because you're connecting with something that's like innate in every single person, regardless of how they look or where they're from. It's like this like human experience in all of us that you're able to then channel through your own prism and perspective of the world, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like, I learned a lot of that, especially when I was in Kenya, because you know, here in South America, we have a lot of Western influences, especially towards our views from the Eastern world about like stereotypes of how Africa, of how our Asian people, how our brown people, Arab people, Indian people, you know, like very limited things of how is the world outside of our own world. And the things we only knew here was like, how's our own world and how is the United States. And then when I went there, I started meeting people from different countries, different nationalities, and I started seeing how similar we are, even though I thought we weren't. Like before, especially with the 9/11 and all of that stuff, there is still a huge fear in the Western world towards Muslim people, towards Islamism. And that got very ingrained when I was a kid, because it was all around media. But then I got to know Muslim people from Islam. And I was like, there's nothing to fear because it's just another religion. And one of my closest friends from Nairobi ended up being Muslim, and she taught me a lot. She taught me a lot of her culture, a lot of her religion. And nowadays I have a huge respect to it. So like, I think the more exposure people get towards different countries, the less prejudice. The less scary the world becomes, the less prejudice you will have, and the more acceptance you will have in yourself towards the differences. Sometimes like you will not have the experiences I have, because it was like a really privileged experience I had. And like a once in a lifetime thing that I got to go to Nairobi and study in an international school. That's like very unique experience, but like it's a very rare one. But like, we can be exposed to different things by media, by giving opportunities, opening doors towards diversity. And that way we can see media from diversity. see
Yeah.
experiences of other people different from ourselves and see them not as a stereotype and just as people, that they're just people, and how beautiful the differences are, how beautiful each and different nationality culture is,
Yeah.
and not to fear, not to be scared.
Right. So what then initially sparked your interest in arts, creativity, and storytelling? And then like, how did you develop that imagination as you and how does that like serve you as like a designer and an animator?
Wait, can you elaborate? I didn't quite
There
understand.
were like two questions in there. So like initially, what sparked your interest in art and creativity? And then second, how have you used that? How has that imagination served you as what you do now?
So I always loved to draw ever since I was a kid. I would make clothes for my Barbies from, those Huggy wipes, baby
Okay.
wipes. I was just like a kid that would like grab a baby wipe, grab some pens and color it, cut it, and put it on my Barbies. But I guess like the moment where I was like, I want to pursue art as my career was when I was around 12 years old, 13, when I was on Tumblr.
Okay.
I started, like following the fan accounts dedicated especially for books. I still am a huge fan of Percy Jackson. And I saw like all of these people that were on my age, a little bit older, making these like really cool graphic posters by themselves using illegal Photoshop.
Nice.
And I was seeing that and I was like, I want to do that too, because this is really cool. So I downloaded Photoshop and I was like, okay, I'm gonna teach myself because no one will teach me. And then I started really liking it. Back then I had stopped drawing for a while because of school and other responsibilities, but then
Yeah.
that brought me back to my creative self, which was always like, which always made me feel like myself, made me feel alive and happy. So that made me feel like happy again. And I started also following illustrators that made fan arts. And I was like, I want to do that as well. So I started going again into it by myself, teaching Photoshop myself.
Yeah.
And I saw how much I enjoyed it. And my parents, especially my dad, saw how much time I would spend on the computer, just like me and Photoshop, hours and hours. And he would be like, this kid who doesn't even go drink some water. And then my dad was like, there's a career for it. You could like search more on it. And then, yeah, kind of that sparked like, oh, I want actually to pursue this if I can take as my career. And also I
Yeah.
started liking Hatsune Miku a lot. And I was like, I want to work doing the things that Hatsune Miku do, producing Hatsune Miku and her concerts.
Wait, so who is this?
Hatsune, oh, you've never heard of her.
I don't think so.
She's a digital hologram Japanese singer.
Can you put the name in the chat?
Yeah, I'll put it here. There. She's not a real person. She's like an anime that sings. But yeah, basically discovering her through Tumblr as well. I was like, oh, this seems really cool. I want to work with this.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah. So this is Hatsune Miku. So this is a character, right?
Yeah, it's made by this enterprise called Vocaloid. And it's like a voice bank actually. And a lot of like musicians that know how to make music use her to make music. It's really cool.
Tell me more about Tumblr. What was Tumblr like? It doesn't exist anymore, right?
I guess it's still, but it's not as hype as it was before. Like back in 2012, it was crazy. Like everyone that was like around 12 to 15 years old, or even like older, they were there. Like all the fan accounts. I guess that Tumblr back then is what Twitter is today. All
Okay.
the fan accounts, dedicated fan clubs were mainly on Tumblr. It
Huh.
was like huge. All the fashion trends began there as well. Taylor Swift was huge in Tumblr. Like her album Bread came out, I think in 2012.
Okay.
And that was like huge on Tumblr everywhere, like everywhere.
Huh.
Yeah, it was like the place where hipsters from 2012 were born.
Wow. It's so interesting. This weekend I had a conversation with my little brother, and he had his bachelor party. And so everybody's he's 7 years younger than me, but we had younger guys there too. And they were asking, we were having this conversation about like downloading music, like when I was in like sixth grade and downloading it like illegally, and then that and like
LimeWire.
my LimeWire, yeah, LimeWire, and then like MySpace, and then Facebook. And when I first joined Facebook in like '07, you had to have a college email, so it was like kind of like a rite of passage. And then Facebook was so much fun, and then like there's just like a new thing for every kind of niche, or every it just like expanded so much. It was really interesting.
Yeah, no, yeah. My sister was kind of like the MySpace generation. And
Okay.
here in Latin America, okay, in Peru, there was this social network called High Five. And here in Brazil, there was Orkut. They were like kind of the MySpace, but from here.
Okay.
And so yeah, for my sister it was that. And then Facebook started. My sister got first her Facebook because she's older. And then I got into it when I was like, I think 12 as well,
Okay.
almost at the same time of Tumblr. I used a little bit of Facebook, but then I went completely towards Tumblr.
Okay.
But I guess like here it kind of like was at the same time. Some kids just Facebook, other kids just Tumblr. Like the cool kids, the kids that thought they were cool, but like not the popular, but like the, oh, I am so different, cool,
Yeah.
use Tumblr, and the popular ones used Facebook.
Huh. Yeah, it's interesting how there's a different audience for everything,
Yeah.
right? Like with the podcast, we have a different audience that's on YouTube. We have a different audience that follows us on Instagram. We have a different audience that listens to us on podcast subscriptions. And it's like all these different like groups, or like ways to experience something, or like a human experience in a way where you're like connecting, I guess, community and connection. There's so
Yeah.
many different ways, but also coming from like one thing as well. It's fascinating.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Like all the niche something can get to.
Yeah, there you can get super niche out there.
Yeah.
uh okay, so like, how do you see the role and outlook of designers moving forward in the 21st century?
First of all, everything has in the 21st century, like everything has gone digitally more
Mhm.
than like
Analog,
physically.
or yeah, physically.
Yeah, like everything is more like digital now.
Yeah.
Um, right now, when I'm at least where I work, and how I see with my work colleagues and all, like the design industry here in São Paulo, the main place where it goes to is for social media and marketing in social media.
Mhm.
Like design, animation, it has gone a lot into social media and marketing. That's what I'm noticing. And that's
Okay.
like very interesting.
How so?
Because like when you go to college, first you learn about the design movements, art movements, and how they started to like invent new things. And nowadays it's all completely different. Nowadays it's all for merchandising more than anything else.
When
And
you're
how it changes.
Yeah, when you were learning about these like art movements, what were those movements about?
It was a lot of emotion, especially like the first ones were like a lot of to express a lot of emotion and then to express a human experience, and the day-to-day life of the time. But then when design started to begin with the Bauhaus, it was like more of a solution, seeking for a solution visually.
I'm grabbing a book here. Unfortunately, it's a little bit lower. Actually, yeah, I love me some Bauhaus.
Oh, it's really fun. I really like Bauhaus as well.
Yeah.
Some of my friends, they have a little bit of like a trauma because we saw a lot of Bauhaus in our first semester. And some of my friends didn't like the teacher. So we were like, oh no, I don't want to listen to Bauhaus anymore, anything about it. But I really like it.
Yeah, for those listening, I'm holding up the ABCs of Bauhaus. Yeah, it was this art movement, design movement in the like from 1919 to 1933 in Germany, and then it came to America, and yeah, it really influenced design like mid-century, 20th century, just like so much. And then
Yeah,
Joseph
Albers,
this one, the interaction of colors.
It was like around the time that it began design like being a way to solve problems, a solution seeking thing through visual art, through art.
Yeah.
And nowadays it is still applied to that, but now it's way more of like merchandising and marketing. And yeah, I guess I haven't put that much thought of it, especially because like I guess before it was more thought out. You could think more about what you're producing. Nowadays, everything has become more like automatic, quick, fast, instant. So there isn't like that much of a time to actually think of what you're doing. If there's any design movement happening, like of course there always is, but like things have become so fast so quickly, and people want things so in such an instant that it's has become more automatic and more robotic, I guess.
How does that make you feel as a designer?
A little bit sad, a little bit angry at capitalism in that way. Because like you don't have that much time to think about the art you're doing. You just have to do it because the clients want you to do it fast.
And they got to put it up on their Instagram post or their commercial or their ad that they're running.
Yeah, and people, the people that consume, they don't know how much time it takes, like to make a movie. They think, oh, 1-2 years, it's so much time, it has to be made like in an instant, when no, it's actually 1-2 years. It's when you're producing it, it's a really short time. Like people would get surprised that, oh, Coraline took 7 years to be done, because like, oh, that's way too much time. Why has it taken that much time? It's like it's stop motion animation. It takes a lot of time, and people like have no idea all the processes it takes, because people want things in an instant because they consume it fast and they want to consume more and more and more. So learning and seeing how much time it takes to produce visual things, whether it being a poster or being a short animation, like how much time it takes now, it has taught me to appreciate it more,
Yeah.
to take the time to like absorb it, consume it, and respect all the work that has been put through it, because man, it's a lot. And people think, oh, you can make this video, just like do it in 30 minutes, like it will not take you time. It's like, bro, it takes a month to make this short video.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I know my roommate is an animator, illustrator, and he worked on this. He made this music video, and it turned out really good, but it took him probably like a year to make it.
Yeah, no,
Like
it takes
like a 3-minute video took a year.
Yeah, because it's the concept, like you have to make the mood boards, the art direction, then you get to character design, and then you have to do the animatic, and you have to start animating it, which it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
And then post-production, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work indeed. Well, do you have a favorite experience so far
With
that you've
like,
worked on, like a project you've worked on or experience with that?
Actually, I have a lot. So the most recent one was just like a tiny design project that I did for where I work.
Okay.
Actually, it happened last week. It was just a post about the timeline of emo, but I got actually some time to curate it. Like it all the text and everything was already done by the social media person, but I had time to like create the images, the style, and it was really fun because I really like the emo movement. I am a huge fan.
Okay.
And like if there's like any emo purists around there like listening, yeah, I'm talking about Midwest emo and all of that, not like the mainstream emo. Because there's like a lot of that fight of the regional emo, what it was with the math rock and the Midwest, and that, oh, Paramore is not emo.
You got to elaborate on this for me because I am clueless about this. So there's all these
Okay.
niches in emo culture, and you said
There
Midwest
is.
emo. What is Midwest emo?
Yeah. Okay, so like the emo core started around the 80s with like hardcore influences.
Okay.
And then around the 90s, it began being called, the styles was like Midwest emo and math rock and a little bit of noise rock, which was like very, very emotional songs that had a lot of hardcore influences. And then from around like the 2000s, it started dividing itself into the mainstream emo that would be like the Panic! At the Disco followed boy bands that people know that are more popular. And then there's this other side of it that continued being more of chill, more with hardcore influences in its sound,
Okay.
more guitar-y, which still is called today Midwest emo and math rock. And so yeah, there's like this two divisions of what is the true emo.
How do you get the name Midwest emo?
Because it was produced in the Midwest of the United States.
Wow. Being here in the Midwest too. This is like, look at this. Like someone in Brazil is talking about the Midwest of the United States. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So Midwest emo.
Yeah, it's really nice. Bands like American football, modern baseball, Into It, Out of It, Empire. They're really nice. They're kind of sad, but they're really nice. So yeah, I was doing a little bit of a post about that, making all the visual identity of that, and it was like really nice to do. Even my boss, she said it looked really, really nice. And then I made some short animated movies in college. Okay. With my group of friends, because the projects we had to present One of them was a stop motion short movie based on my experience here, actually, like as a Peruvian here in Sao Paulo. It was like a 1-minute short movie.
Okay.
It's about like this girl arriving at an airport, and she's arriving at an airport here in Sao Paulo, handing in her passport, and it's a Peruvian, and the guy from the immigration place had no idea where she was from, and he would be like, "Oh, so Spanish, tacos, maracas," and she would get angry and be like, "No, it's not that." And then it will end with she getting angry, throwing all of the stuff he would take out, like with nachos and maracas and sombrero. And then another immigrant would arrive, being a Japanese immigrant, because in our group there's a friend that she is of Japanese descent.
Okay.
And it will be arriving as well at the immigration part, and the same guy would be like, "Oh, Japan, so Pokemon, kimono."
Okay, yeah. Just all the stereotypes and stuff.
Yeah, all the wrong stereotypes. So basically showing how people here and everywhere are like ignorant. And then there's our final project that we did. There was a 3-minute 2D animation based on Hansel and Gretel, but putting like the witch in a very positive way, like she not being a mean and bad witch, but being just an old lady that wanted company.
Misunderstood.
Yeah, misunderstood. And we made it sort of like fun and funny, and it was very stressful to do it, to be honest, because like we did it last year in the middle of the pandemic. It was all remote.
Okay.
And we were already tired. It was our last year of uni, and we had like a whole year to do it, but still we thought it wasn't enough because we were working nonstop, and I was already like having a job, an internship, while doing that short movie, and it was really hard, but it ended up being like really, really cute.
That's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like you're just like working on a ton of projects and just out there doing your creating. It's cool.
Yeah. I try to like stay out there. I like creating stuff.
Yeah. It's fantastic. We talked a little bit about music just now, and then a while back at the beginning. Who are 3 musical artists in your heavy rotation right now?
Ooh, wait, let me check Spotify.
Yeah. These are probably gonna be bands I've never heard of.
I listen to a lot of diverse stuff. I would listen from like regional and dance stuff to like really heavy and known stuff like the Death Grips.
I don't know that.
Yeah, no, it's a really heavy, weird, or like Arca. Okay. That it's like weird music. But I would also listen to like Miley Cyrus and stuff. Let's see. I've been listening to Mac Miller recently. Rest in peace. It was amazing.
What do you like about Mac Miller? He's been coming up a little bit more on my like suggestions on Spotify.
He was very genuine. Like he was very genuine in his music. He would pour all his heart of it in his music, and was like quite relatable of the stuff he would sing, of his struggles and just his daily life. I recommend it a lot. He was amazing. Let's see what else. I've been listening to Banks. She's sort of like an alternative pop singer.
Who is this?
Banks. And Nati Peluso. She's an Argentinian singer of R&B.
Can you put it in the chat?
There.
Okay. Nati Peluso. Cool. Nice. What's the next show you're going to?
Lollapalooza,
Lala
actually.
coming up, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's this weekend
Seeing
or next weekend?
this weekend, this Saturday. Like this
Wow.
whole weekend, but I'm only going on Saturday. See Miley Cyrus, A Day to Remember.
What for you, what does live music, what is the value it brings to you as an individual?
Of live music,
Yeah.
the experience you have in the middle of the crowd with a lot of people, seeing the same artists that you all like, and having the connection with the artist. Like you're not only listening to it recorded on Spotify, you're listening to it singing live with all the emotions the artist is feeling at the moment, and any changes the artists want to do to their music at that very moment. You know, you're seeing it very raw there, like the music, the song you're seeing on its raw state of it being played live. So I think that whole experience is, for me, it's really important. I really like it. Connect with the artists and with the people, with the crowd, like singing it together with the crowd and with the artists as well, and feeling all the energy.
That word right there, energy. I was at a show. A lot of my friends are like on tours, and I have know a lot of musicians. And so my friends in Bone Lane were playing a show at Chop Chop on Sunday night. So I went to that here in Chicago. And last night I was working at the restaurant, and I had some friends stop by, and I was telling them about the show, and I show them a video of it. But the video is so limiting because the energy, there's not like a direct, and this is what I'm curious about with technology. How do you record the energy? Because all you can record is people experiencing the energy, but there's no like direct from videotaping it to like feeling the energy. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you can't. That's the thing of like live performance, or like seeing people face to face, the thing that we couldn't experience because of the pandemic or until like now. Yeah. The feeling, the connection you feel with people face to face, side by side, is completely different. And I think you can record it, or like no technology would be able to substitute that.
Yeah. Isn't that so fascinating?
Yeah, it is. It is very fascinating.
Who or what are 3 people or things that have influenced your outlook on life?
The first one is definitely Marjan Satrapi. Because of her, I am where I am today.
Can you type that name in the chat too, so I can look this up?
Like her most famous graphic novel and movie is Persepolis. Wait, let me type it down as well. Because of her, I am where I am today. Like she was her work was the thing that made me be secure of going to pursue art and be like, there's a place for me, you know, there's someone that kind of looks like me in a way, and she's out there, so I can be out there as well.
Wow, that's cool.
Let me see, 3 people. I guess my parents, you would put as one person.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, my parents have always supported me in a way, and also because we're immigrants here in Brazil. I've lived for a long time away from my roots, and also like denying my own roots for a while because many reasons. But like, because of them and through them, I started reconnecting with my roots again. They are the ones that have always, in a way or another, reminded me of who I am, where I am from. And when they noticed that I started getting interested again in like wanting to know where I come from and my roots, they're the ones that teach me about our culture, our story. My mom teaches me a lot of our costumes that I didn't grow up with, but she did.
Okay.
And especially of the language, because in Peru we don't also speak Spanish, we also speak Quechua. That's a native native language. So my mom would teach me some words in it. She doesn't speak it like that much. She only knows a couple of words. My great grandparents used to speak it, but it's important to keep the language alive some way or another, to keep the culture alive. So she will teach me some things and the things from her childhood, what Peru is about, the things that I lived far away from. They would like teach me a lot about it and understand myself even more, understand myself, my traces, the things we have at home and why do we have them. And in a way, it was a way to teach myself of self-love, to accept my own roots, to know them. It's a way of self-love.
Wow, that's awesome.
So yeah, for me, that was very important. That thing of them was very important.
Yeah, they provide that connection to something you can't experience physically or tangibly at the moment of time.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have one last influence?
Geez, I don't know. Like I do have more, but like, you know, those moments where you just forget about everyone else.
Yeah. Well, in that case, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No. I was gonna say, I guess that's it, at least like for right now.
So I have one last question for you. This is one of my favorite questions I like asking people. What are you curious about recently?
Geez, I don't know. But the thing is, I'm curious about a lot of things, like a lot of the time. I don't know, I guess to learn more about, like right now at the moment, I would say to learn more about different cultural conflicts and why they happen because of the situation we're living right now worldwide, you know. And I've always felt intrigued about like how it all began and why, because there's always like a root of it, of all the conflicts that happen around the world. So I guess it would be like more of political sciences. I've always been interested in that because I guess because I lived in different countries. But like some weeks before, I was like reading a lot of psychology just because like I am very curious about that as well. About different mental illnesses and how the brain works. So every week it changes.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That means your brain is like stimulating itself.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today, Elaine. This has been fantastic. It's been great talking with you.
Okay, thank you for having me. It was really nice talking to you.